South Asia Research for Religious Minorities, SARIM. So that is, I think, a forum which is quite important and significant in prevailing circumstances. The keynote address, the theme is basically about religious minorities in South Asia and how religious minorities in South Asia, whether these minorities are Christians or Hindus or Muslims and Sikhs and Buddhists and whosoever they are, that they are so vulnerable as far as violence is concerned, discrimination is concerned, hatred is concerned. So that is something which I will talk about, how to deal with the violence against minorities in South Asia, because there are millions and millions of religious minorities. The first thing which I would like to mention here is, and that is something which the audience should also take into account, that is about an approach based on inclusiveness, not exclusiveness. So, religious inclusiveness, ethnic inclusiveness, lingual inclusiveness, that those people who tend to be different in terms of their race, in terms of their religion, in terms of the culture and language, they should not be excluded as far as the minority and majority thing is concerned. So, how the society can be inclusive, that's a big challenge for South Asia. And that is something which we need to bear in mind, that an approach which the governments of South Asia, the civil society in South Asia needs to pursue is inclusiveness. The second thing is basically which I would like to talk about, and it deals with a very dangerous situation which is prevailing in South Asia, and that has to do with intolerance, more and more intolerance, chauvinism, xenophobia, targeting people who are religious minorities. So that is the wave of intolerance in South Asia. That is nothing new. It's all over the world. You look at Europe. You look at Africa. You look at Asia and Americas and all such continents. So you see a surge of intolerance, extremism, militancy, radicalization, violence, and then terrorism. But the root cause is primarily intolerance. It starts with intolerance, that people they tend to be intolerant as far as each other concerned. So we have to do something about intolerance. That this it's a disease. It's something. It's a virus which is permeated, particularly in almost all the South Asian countries, stretching from Bhutan to Maldives, from Afghanistan to Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. All these South Asian countries are vulnerable as far as intolerance is concerned, and that is the second thing which I would like to talk about. The third thing is that there's a report which has been published by South Asia State of Minorities. It's basically based in Kathmandu, South Asian Collective, and the report 2020. And that report gives a very, unique picture as far as the state of religious minorities in South Asia concerned. It has discussed, that report has discussed each and each country, every country in South Asia in great detail. And some of the things which we have to basically bear in mind if we go through the report of South Asia State of Minorities based in Kathmandu, the report was published in Kathmandu 2020, that there are basically five issues which are important when we talk about religious minorities. And religious minorities primarily are not only in Pakistan or in India or in Bangladesh, these minorities are everywhere in all the South Asian countries. So the first is primarily hate speech, that people, groups, political parties, political groups, religious schools, and you can name it, the manner in which hate speech has become a phenomena to create hatred against each other on the basis of religion, on the basis of sect. And I think we have to understand, we have to bear in mind that religion is like a time bomb, like ethnicity is like a time bomb. The feelings of people can be easily mobilized, people can be easily charged if hate speech or hate speeches are delivered against a particular religious group or a particular sect. So, this is one thing. The second is that when there are discriminatory practices, that how discrimination becomes a part of policy. Religious discrimination, lingual discrimination, cultural discrimination, ethnic discrimination, sectarian discrimination. So one has to understand that it is true that the human mind tends to be extremist, the human mind tends to be intolerant and violent, and discrimination is basically rooted as far as the human mind is concerned. But if the society is peaceful, the society is tolerant, the society is democratic, egalitarian, enlightened, then certainly discrimination cannot penetrate. Discrimination cannot take its roots in that particular society. Then, of course, threats and intimidation. How threats and a policy of intimidation against a particular religious group. And there's a history to it, which I will talk about later on. And finally, you have physical violence. It all starts with the level of extremism and intolerance. Then it goes to radicalization, militancy, and then, of course, violence, and then terrorism. So, physical violence, when one religious group or ethnic group is targeted, people are killed, people are, maltreated, and then it leads to the refugees. That how the what happened in case of say Myanmar, that how hundreds and thousands of Muslims from Myanmar, from the Rakhine state, there was a policy of genocide, which was basically perpetrated by the government of Myanmar, by the military of Myanmar, and that genocide, it led to the exodus of almost 1 million Rohingyas, the Burmese Muslims or the Myanmar Muslims from the Rakhine state to Bangladesh. So it's a very recent example of religious violence, physical violence, religious discrimination based on religion. And there are many, many other examples which we can take note of as far as South Asia is concerned. Now, perhaps we have to live with the issue of religious violence. Absolutely, there is no doubt about it. But what is possible is basically to reduce the level of religious violence or the level of discrimination and the threats and the physical violence against a particular religious community. Because if that religious community is so vulnerable that it cannot protect itself as far as the majority is concerned, so the minority is vulnerable from the majority. What is the way out? How can there be in South Asia an environment of peaceful coexistence, an environment of tolerance, an environment whereby people who are of different faiths, of different religions, of different sect, of different cultural and ethnic backgrounds, they can live peacefully. It's a big issue because as days are passing in this world, we see the resources, that how the resources are diminishing day by day, food resources, energy resources, then you have employment issue. So more and more economic problems, more leads to social problems, social issues, and that causes unrest in society. So in South Asia, particularly, it's very old. It's an old region. Thousands of years of civilization in South Asia. Absolutely. The question is that such rich cultures and rich civilizations, how can people, experience violence and this hatred and discrimination and destruction of property and threats and intimidation. So this is something which is very sad, that South Asia, which is a hub of several cultures and civilizations, that's one region which is so much vulnerable as far as religious this instability, the factors are concerned. So the way out, what's the way out? In my keynote address, basically, I have to be very clear about some of the things. The first is that the governments of South Asia, the state actors in South Asia, they must be mindful the fact that unless there is rule of law, unless there is justice system, the minorities in South Asia would continue to feel vulnerable as far as religious violence, religious persecution, such things are concerned. So rule of law is very important. Justice system, that those people, whether they are in any South Asian country, like for example, in case of India, that how the Sedition Amendment Act, how the National Registration Act, how the religious minorities in the regions largest and the biggest country, India, which tends to be secular in nature, and that secular or democratic country is primarily a victim of religious assertion of the majority. So that is something which we have to understand, that uh, the vulnerability, particularly of the Muslim and the Christian and the Sikh and the Dalit communities in India, that is something which is a big challenge as it destabilizes that country. Likewise, there are many other examples in South Asia, like in Sri Lanka, in the this pandemic, the controversy that those Muslims who have lost their lives because of pandemic, their bodies have been burned. So that is something which has enraged Muslims of Sri Lanka, and not only Sri Lanka but elsewhere also, to the extent that Maldives has offered the government of Sri Lanka to bury the bodies of those Sri Lankan Muslims who have died of COVID-19. Instead, that they should be burned. Their bodies should be burned. And recently, they burned a body of a child, a Muslim child in Sri Lanka. That is something which tends to be very inhuman. In Pakistan, certainly there are many issues faced by various religious minorities, but certainly we have to understand that those Hindus from the province of Sindh who migrated to India for better life, they are returning to Pakistan because they have um, realized that in Pakistan, comparatively, there is a more religious tolerance as compared to India. But certainly in Pakistan, we have a long way to go in order to assure, as far as inclusiveness is concerned, as far as non-discriminatory, attitude and policies against various religious minorities concerned. Therefore, we have to basically understand that in constitution, the constitutions of South Asian countries, there must be strict laws which should protect the rights of minorities. And laws should not only be laws should also be implemented. There are various laws, rules, and regulations, but the thing is basically that when there is a religious violence, as it happened in case of India recently, when the Indian Muslims, they in Delhi uh, early this year, they launched a protest, and then there was a stage, demonstration, things like that. How force was used to disperse them. Uh, the lynching of Muslims, Indian Muslims, uh, the allegations of cause slaughter and things like that. So basically, this thing has put a question mark as far as religious tolerance in South Asia is concerned. And then there has to be, a zero tolerance for intolerance. Absolutely, there is no doubt about it. That and for that matter, the youths of South Asia, I mean, particularly those the school-going children, the syllabi, the subjects which they study, such subjects there has to be a focus, there has to be an emphasis in such subjects which are taught in schools in South Asia, primary level, secondary level, how they should be taught about the merit and the essentiality and the necessity as far as religious tolerance is concerned. Because at the grassroots level, if there is intolerance, if those who are going to various education institutions, they are not properly trained about accepting other faiths, about accepting others who are religiously different. So there has to be in the educational system of South Asia a major change is required, a qualitative change is required. That the subjects must be introduced, which should basically uh, argue for, which should advocate as far as religious tolerance is concerned, religious peace is concerned, because all the religions, whether it's Islam or Hinduism or Buddhism or Christianity or Judaism, these religions call for peace and tolerance and sanity. But the problem is basically that those who are the followers of such religions, they are the ones who violate the basic principles of the religions. Like if there is Hindu nationalism or the Muslim nationalism or Buddhist nationalism or any other nationalism or religious on religious grounds, that basically negates as far as the basic principle of religious tolerance is concerned. And there has to be a political will and determination among the uh, countries of South Asia, the governments of South Asia, the civil society. The media must play a very important role because it's the media which is held responsible for escalating religious tension because of its vested interests. So media, unless media is responsible, particularly electronic media, in discouraging reports and events which create a hype, which create tension, which results into violence, it will be very difficult to control. I mean, I think media has a greater responsibility along with political parties and political groups, the bureaucracy, the judiciary, the civil society. So it's a big challenge which the South Asian countries are facing these days. That how to transform their cultures, which the last couple of decades are a victim of violence and extremism and intolerance and radicalization. And finally, I would like to mention here that around 40% of the 40 to 45% of the youths of South Asia, 45% of the population of South Asia is composed of youths. They are the ones they are the ones whose future is at stake. If the countries remain vulnerable to religious persecution, ethnic persecution, so the youths of South Asia must not be polarized. The youth of South Asia, and there has to be investment as far as providing them with better education, better quality of life, in terms of human security, because unless the youths are properly trained, unless the youths are secure, they will continue to be used by various vested interest groups, as several, religious extremist groups and parties, political parties in South Asia have been doing, that they're using the youths of for their own purpose. So therefore, I would end here with a note that according to Chairman Mao, the founder of modern China, the People's Republic of China, his famous quotation that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So we have to take the first step in order to be practical in terms of religious tolerance, peaceful coexistence, in order to make sure that there is rule of law, that there is no discrimination, that there are laws in almost all the South Asian countries prohibiting religious discrimination, but then such laws are not to be implemented. The role of law enforcement agencies, that's very important, that they should be neutral. They should not take sides in case of a religious, this demonstration or a protest or whatever it is. They have to be neutral, and their main purpose should be to maintain the rule of law. So I think as days are passing, all over the world, we see the surge of ethnic and religious intolerance and extremism, and the ultra right wing, the culture of populism. That the populism, which is basically a ultra right wing type of a phenomena, which has gripped the majority of the Western countries. So the culture of populism, whether it is in the United States, in the form of the white supremacists, or the right wing Republican Party, or in France, the National Party in France, and in Britain, in Scandinavian countries, in Austria, in Greece, the new Golden Dawn, this party in Italy. So we in South Asia, since we are the custodians of rich culture and civilization, so we must be very mindful with the fact that we have to put our own house in order, and we have to make sure that each and every life of the people, it's precious. They are first human beings. Sense of humanity is the essence. Thank you very much.